We know how to do this. The Obama-Biden administration rescued the auto industry and helped them retool. We made solar energy cost competitive with traditional energy and weatherized more than 1 million homes, which is just the beginning if we get reelected. And we'll do it again.
You may be wondering, why am I standing in this garage? Or you may be thinking, why did you move to that indiscriminate field outside? Or you really may be wondering, why the telephone pole? I'm standing outside to symbolize, now that Joe Biden has left the basement and is now doing live events outdoors, in fields, garages, cages, delivering pizza to firemen, he's now worthy of my endorsement. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Joe Biden, he's the man with the Biden touch. A creepy touch.
You see, I point out the absurdity of all of that because that's what Joe Biden and his campaign, they think of the American people. He's like a Mr. Potato Head. He's just hollow. There's nothing of any real substance there. Now, through the years, he's been accused of plagiarism, of stealing other people's ideas, stealing other people's words. But I think it's far more nefarious than just taking somebody else's words. He's taking their ideas because he himself, it isn't that he doesn't have any of his own. It's that he is what he appears to be. Hollow, empty. You know, we've been a little worried about this political campaign cycle that Joe Biden would not be the actual president. Would it be Kamala Harris? Is Biden just the placeholder, the Trojan horse that a group of unknown, unnamed, unfaced advisors on the radical left will actually be pouring into Joe Biden, directing policy, creating the administration? Well, according to AOC this week, that's exactly what's going to happen. And that was the dog whistle being sent out when Kamala Harris said during a Harris administration. She was reading that off a teleprompter. 24 hours later, Joe Biden was reading it off of a teleprompter, referring to it as the Harris administration. He wants the far left to know. They want the far left to know. He's not there about him or his policies. He's there about the policies of others because he is like Mr. Potato Head, hollow. And he's always been hollow.
Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children.
The health of our children.
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
You don't steal verbatim, or when you do, as he did 99% of the time, you give credit.
Biden's critics say he sells himself as a man whose words and visions can inspire a new generation in politics. But if the thoughts, phrases, and visions really belong to others, it's a form of false advertising.
Is it a wise idea, though, to take something that personal, anyway, from another politician and try and appropriate it to your own campaign?
I think it was a stupid thing to appropriate material that was really very personal, that was someone else's.
Most people didn't know who he was, you know, Joe Biden, and now they're going to say, oh yeah, he's the guy who plagiarized.
That's a lot of people.
Politically, that's devastating.
These clips are devastating. He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
If they're going to do things that are stupid as well as immoral, then they're probably too dumb to have the job of president.
Voters are going to have to decide whether he was dishonest or dumb.
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye-bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
It's in terminal condition.
Terminal. Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
With Joe Biden, when he still had his mental faculties together, he could get away with style because he certainly had no substance, because his substance was borrowed at best, rented at worst. Just ask the Chinese. Just ask Ukraine. Just ask his son, Hunter. A Joe Biden administration, it's not only frightening what would happen with the fact that, well, libloons would run everything, so would foreign entities. And I'm not talking about fake Russian collusion. I'm talking about the real deal, Jack. That's what you would get with Joe Biden.